the Super Bowl is not just about the sport and the music. The commercials are also a big part of the whole package as well. And last night's ads included Ben Affleck in a Good Will Hunting spoof of that as well, plus a parody of Living on a Prayer featuring John Bon Jovi. Well, Katie Skingle is a marketing expert and can chat to us about the big names that were there from last night. Remind us, if you would, Katie, and welcome to the show. How many people watch the Super Bowl altogether?
Hi, Tony. And in the US alone, it was 127 million viewers. So worldwide, you'd be looking at least 200 million. There's nothing in the UK as a single event with that kind of global broadcast. So, yeah, impressive.
It is massive, isn't it? I mean, that's like twice the population of the UK watching something all at the very same time, is it? But what is it about sporting events, Katie, that attract such big business in terms of advertisements?
Well, I think because you can have title sponsors, you can have partnership working, there's the ability to have supportive digital and social campaigns on the lead up to, during and post. And actually, they're the kind of players that if you're paying £8 million for a 30-second advert, which is how much it is to have a Super Bowl halftime advert, then that helps you stand out in a crowded marketplace because it signals that you're a major player. If you're paying that kind of money, also the creative needs to be on point because you want to make sure that your message lands effectively for that kind of price point.
I mean, the thing is, advertisers moved on so much, hasn't it? You know, going back to the days of the first Lord Leverhulme in the 19th century, when he said, 50% of everything I spend on marketing is wasted, but I don't know which 50% it is. Now, things are very, very much more sort of scientific these days, but companies are still interested in those big headline marketing slots, aren't they?
Yes, but the tracking is very much in place. They will have set benchmark metrics and they'll have understood what they define as success from whatever objective they're setting at the very start of the campaign. And actually, there's the real-time marketing, so things that will have happened actually that they weren't expecting necessarily during the Super Bowl itself. Oreo is a great example of that back in 2013 when they did their dunking in the dark tweet because there was a power outage and they got that out within 10 minutes of it actually happening. And then post-event, obviously, with the surveys of whether there was any brand recognition, whether there was an uplift in tracking for actual return on investment, but also whether there was any customer journey where they were converting further down the line. So they saw your advert, but actually you've been followed around and they know that you saw their advert, but that actually you didn't buy until later down the line. They'll have all of that level of reporting now, and it's important for them to be able to do so because no one wants to be spending 50% even of £8 million and not understanding what you're getting back for that.
I mean, we see advertising these days on a much smaller scale by comparison to the Super Bowl in UK stadiums, on football shirts. How lucrative are these deals?
So in terms of the spend, it will be, they'll be very lucrative to the event. I mean, Wimbledon and Silverstone, so the British Grand Prix, would probably be the two most sort of like well-known events that we would have delivered in the UK, and people want to be associated with that kind of level of event. And again, depending on what the spend is, it might be that they've set very particular goals to see whether they've had any cultural impact. I mean, not everything also has to be hard data, and I think people forget that. Marketeers don't, but actually it's about the conversation piece. How was that well received? How was that, in conversation, did people feel warmly about that towards a brand? So that's something to bear in mind as well.
So looking at it with your professional eyes for last night, Katie, how did you rate last night's advertising?
So I liked quite a few of them. Some of them I don't think really hit the mark. Some of the AI ones could have done with a little bit more work, and I'm a fan of AI, I would like to point out. I think that's a technology of the future, but there was a few that needed a bit of work. I was a huge fan of the Pepsi one, although that will cause arguments between marketeers for years to come. Pepsi used polar bears, which is traditionally the Coca-Cola mascot, in their 30-second commercial, which if you've only got 30 seconds and people might not be paying attention attention. There's an argument as the only cola brand advertising, did they just help Coke out? But actually what they did, I thought, was quite clever as a differentiator, which is they've gone back to that 20th century taste campaign, the Pepsi Challenge, which you might remember, where they went around shopping malls and they made people taste 2 unbranded cola cups, and you knew that people were choosing Pepsi for its taste. So it's that argument between differentiation and distinctiveness, and that will be something marketeers argue about for all to come. But they use the Oscar-winning director that is Taika Waititi, and who doesn't love something that's produced by him?
So, Katie, forget about all of that professional stuff. Did you enjoy the show and the game last night?
I loved everything. I'm a Bad Bunny fan, so the halftime music show, it was easy for me to stay up. So I enjoyed it no end.
Brilliant. That's great. Katie Skingle, thank you so much for joining us today on BBC Radio Merseyside of picking apart what is a huge, huge event